Lord,
Y'all what's on my mind?
prepare me.
Can I get a couple of things off my chest?
Lord, prepare me. Lord, prepare me and prepare these people to listen to me. It's your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your nephew, your friend, but I can't be your son as you can folk, William Jewell. Listen to my detail as I'm articulating. This is articulating. Right. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? If you haven't already, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button down below and turn the notifications on so you get all the new content, all the new videos when I post them. I'm trying to give y'all some clips. I'm trying to give y'all a shortcut to this game, to this perspective, to the mental jewels and the jewels about the hip hop, the details as I articulate. And I hope y'all are happy with that. I hope that I'm doing something that will service the fans, service the listeners, the people that just want to hear me talk my talk and just hear my opinion. So man, I appreciate y'all support. We still trying to go up. We still trying to keep doing these numbers. And just make sure you like, share it with somebody. They might want to hear it too. They might want to know what I'm talking about too. And I really get into it because I love this shit. I really get into it because hip hop is not just the art of rap. Hip hop is a culture. Hip hop is a way that we maneuver throughout life and uphand, uphold these morals, uphold these standards, uphold these beliefs within our heritage, within our culture, within the fiber of our being. So I believe articulating it, making it make sense, making it plain for those who it could be complicated too, you know, it's just smoother that way. And man, it's a lot of music dropping, right? 2024, like I said, it's a lot of music dropping. And one of the favorite albums of last year, the best album of last year, Michael, Killer Mike, right? Purple Ribbon Gang. He was from the Dungeon Family, Killer Mike, ties with Outkast, Big Boy, Andre 3K, Rico Wade, right? All of them boys. You know, And I love Killer Mike because when we talk about that grown man hip hop, when we talk about that grown folk rap, what they saying now, that adult contemporary genre, I believe Killer Mike is holding it down. I believe Killer Mike is kicking that knowledge, kicking that, wisdom and giving us something to think about, giving us something to really digest as far as politics, as far as financial literacy, as far as being an upstanding person in your community, and as far as being a hustler and a go getter, right? And he's just motivating us with his lyrics. He's just motivating us with his career because he could have stopped. All day I dream about, all day I dream about sex. Right? We go back to Killer Mike back in the day when he was with Big Boy. We go back to I be on it all night. I be on it all day. Straight up, pimp. If you want me, you can find me. And hey, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Hey, I'm on it. I'm on it. Like when we think about Killer Mike, we could go back and think about these things, but when we think about him now, we see the man that's reinvented himself. We see a rapper that was rapping early on in his years trying to make it. And now when we look back 20 years later, he's winning Grammys. He's getting that acclaim. He's getting that recognition that he deserves because he's giving us that ism. He's giving us those mental jewels. He's giving those lessons that his grandma, that his mama told him when he was young from the baby mamas that he had. Three different baby mamas, 4 kids. He's giving us these lessons. He was taking the kid to the church service, to the church nursery to try to get that blessing from God. Right? He's talking plainly. He's making himself human. He's humanizing himself in these songs, and we can relate to it. That southern gospel that we heard at church, that we heard at revival. Michael and the Midnight Revival. Songs for Sinners and Saints. That's the album. And I like what he did, right? Because he knows that he's getting new listeners. He knows that he's getting new views. And he recycled a couple songs from his old project, from the last project, and he reintroduced us to that those songs with, different musicality points to it. Just more gospel, more musicality, just more song, right? More instruments, right? And he took away the bass so you really could hear what he was saying in that Slumber for Junkies, right? When he was really talking and really trying to get that message across, he took out that bass and you could hear his words very crispy clear, like it was a KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's how crispy it was, right? Straight out the frying pan. And we could hear it crispy. But as I came on this podcast today, I said, Lord, prepare me. Like just that sample. And then you think about that Nobody Knows. And we know people that have used that sample too. The one he did with Anthony Hamilton. Like he using samples. Humble me now. Like he talking that talk. He giving us that gospel. He giving us that adult music that we need to listen to get through our days, that we need to listen to get through the troubled times, to get to the times where we got that burden, where we got that cloud over us, when the devil riding our back and we gotta say, motherfucker, get off. And stump on his ass and tell him to sit on the tack. Like he giving us that musicality. And he's blending that gospel, that southern gospel, because we know it's so soulful, that southern gospel, when they can sing in the church choir, and it really makes you want to stand up and say hallelujah. So man, God bless Killer Mike and keep doing what you're doing, because this definitely was a revival. This was a revival for hip hop. This was a revival for Atlanta. This was a revival for the grown men that are still a part of this hip hop culture that needs something so they can persevere, so they can carry on, so they can continue on their journey down the path of life and keep the head up. Humble me now. Because there's a lot of things that's gonna humble you, and someone who hasn't been humbled. Somebody that's so conceited, somebody that's so narcissistic. Kanye West. And this album, Vultures 2, with Ty Dolla $ign. And I don't know if y'all realize this, and I don't even know if I realized this. I don't know even if I thought about this before I just came on this podcast. But Ty Dolla $ign, I feel like his celebrity has been lifted up even more. I believe he couldn't say no to Ye, when doing these projects, because of the aftermath, because of the results of it. Because now I really look at Ty Dolla $ign in a different light. It looks like he has the light shining up on him. It looks like he's glittering like gold. It looks like he's entered a gold mine and he's mining for that gold, and he's getting those carats, and he's getting that value, getting that recognition, getting that notoriety that he finally deserves. Not just being a hook master, but just being a voice for the people, being a voice that we're all accustomed to, a voice that's relevant, a voice that's familiar, a voice that's melodic. Right? And I believe Ty Dolla $ign, he was the star of the show of Vultures 1. And I think Ye heard that. I think Ye heard that he wasn't rapping as good as he could. I think Kanye understood the task at hand, and I believe he wanted to get on Vultures 2 and showcase his skill, showcase his prowess, not just as a production guy, not just as a producer, but as an MC, as a lyricist. And I don't know if he wrote these songs by himself, but he sounded damn good. Right, the production, chef's kiss. Right, the samples chopped perfectly, just sounded perfectly. The texture, like even that 530 song, it didn't sound like it was perfectly mastered, but it sounded raspy. It sounded like classic. It just gave us that texture, that airy sound, like when you hear somebody record and everything around them is not soundproof, but it is just authentic. It's just raw. And I think Ye, he was able to capture that raw feeling. He was able to capture that raw texture. Although he's still crying out to Kim K, because I know husband is not about Bianca. I know husband is still him crying out for Kim K. Please come home. I want to be the husband to you. So I know that Ye, he's getting more introspective on some of these songs, right? And he's really giving us himself. He's really giving us his passion. He's really diving in and rapping. So although Ty Dolla $ign was on Vultures 1 and very he was on there like very familiar, right? We could hear him more on Vultures 1, but Vultures 2, I feel like Kanye took the cake. I feel like Kanye stole the show for Vultures 2. And like I was saying in my notes, I wished he would have released Vultures 1 and Vultures 2 like Metro Boomin and Future release We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You in 3 weeks from each other, so you could really compare them in real time. But yeah, he likes to drop, likes to leak, he likes to backtrack, because Vultures 2 was ready, but he didn't release it. So, I wish we would have been able to compare these in real time. I wish I had time to go back to Vultures 1 and compare it. I'm sure I'm going to be able to compare them in the next episode after this, but I wish it was there for me to compare them. But the features, right? It was a great listening, but because I wasn't sure who was gonna be on these songs, and I heard Playboy Cardi, I heard Lil Yachty, I heard Lil Wayne, I heard Dirk, I heard Future, I heard Lil Baby, I heard Saha the Prince, Sky City, right? Lifestyle. I heard Dead. Like, that was just, those were the highlights of this album. I heard some songs that really made me put the stank face on. I really heard some songs that made me look within. I heard some songs that really resonated with me. A husband. I want to be a husband to my wife. How could I not love that song? How could I not love that ballad to your loved one, to your significant other? Showing how passionate you are about being their lover, about being their provider, about being their protector, about being their husband, right? And I feel like Kanye pulled on the heartstrings, but he also kept it up tempo. He also kept it like feel good. He also kept the vibe vibrant. He also kept the frequency up high. And I know that Kanye, he's been saying some wild, outlandish things in the past. But for most people that listen to Kanye music, they kind of separate him as the person and him as the musician and artist, because at the end of the day, it just seemed like he trolls for attention. He just runs his mouth to run it just so he can hear himself talk, and nobody cares about what he's saying. Everything he said, nobody's really listening to it anymore, but we just want to hear you talk through the music. We just want to hear you make good music. And Kanye, he makes music better than anyone we could name. And he's been doing it for a long time, and he's been consistent for a long time. Although we don't like some albums better than the others, one thing that we cannot say is that he's not been consistent with giving us a solid sound, right? Everything that he's done has been solid. Nothing that he's done has been under qualified. Nothing that he's done has been low quality, right? It might not have performed well. It might not have resonated as much, but everything that Kanye's been doing recently and in the past has been solid, and he's been consistent as a musician, as an artist, as a rapper, as a person in the culture, as a brand. Yeezy taking shots at Drake once again, right? But of course he did, right? That's low hanging fruit. Taking shots at Adidas, of course he did. That's low hanging fruit. But I believe this was a Kanye that I could really appreciate because he put on a show. He performed well when he was rapping, right? And he performed well when he was producing, right? So everything is on brand production wise. Everything is on brand with the samples. Everything is on brand with the lyricism. Everything is on brand in gathering these like-minded individuals, gathering these creatives and putting together a project that will resonate with the ears of the listeners. So Kanye, I gotta give you a salute. All right, gotta give you a salute. And when we talk about the features on that album, I want to talk about a man who is on a crazy feature run. Saturday Morning featuring Corday. You don't stop with Big Sean, Rick Ross, and Premier. And this week he's giving us Higher, produced by Mike Will Made It, featuring Lil Yachty. He's got on the Vultures 2 lifestyle song. And on these two features, he was a little bit melodic. Started out melodic, but he really got into his bag. He's still getting in his bag. BBLs, you gain LBs, right? Like he's really talking that talk. Lil Wayne, that's who I'm talking about. The greatest rapper of live, right? The one who had that crazy run in 2005 to 2010. The one they thought that was not relevant, that resurged his career, right? The one that put Drake on, the one that kept the Hot Boys going, the one that did Young Moolah Baby, Young Money, the one who brought Nicki Minaj in the game, right? We talking about Lil Wayne, Lil Tunchi, right? And Wayne, he deserves that respect. A lot of people don't put him high on that list. A lot of people don't regard him as a GOAT, but I regard Wayne as a GOAT. Wayne is one of my favorite rappers, if not my favorite rapper, because I listened to him at a time when he was at his prime, and I listened to him at a time when I was at my most impressionable age as a teenage man. Wayne, you can't go wrong with Wayne. And I was listening to him when he was giving us that substance. As long as he can continue to give us that substance. I don't care if he's rapping auto-tune. I don't care if he's rapping in his real voice. But if he can give us that substance, if he can give us that passion that he always had when he was at the top of his game, I believe it will always be digestible. And I can't wait to hear an album from him. Because all these features tell us is that Wayne still has it. But I feel like we can put Wayne up in a higher regard if he gives us a classic album, even at age above 40. Right? I feel like we can still give Wayne those kudos. I feel like we can still give Wayne those credits, give Wayne those flowers, and I feel like he deserves it. All the producers around him, all the producers he's worked with, all the features he's done for other people, shit, he probably could just reach in the archives and give us a classic album with whatever he got. So these people that's been working with him for all these years, these people that's been reaching out to him for these features, been reaching out for him to get on these beats, they need to come together and provide Wayne with that classic album, give him that classic sound, and give him a sound that we need. Not just because we want to hear Wayne be clever on beats, but we want to hear Wayne say something that means something. And that's what Wayne has been lacking, right? And I feel like he's starting to get closer to that. I feel like he's starting to get that back. We want to hear Wayne be introspective, right? Not just talking no punchline, not just speaking on no metaphors, but speaking the real life to us. What's going on with Wayne now? How was that relationship with Birdman? Now that your children are getting older, how do you feel as a father? Now that you ushered in Young Money, Nicki Minaj, Drake, how are y'all relationships now? How do you see yourself? Right? How's your health? Right? You know, with all the stuff that's going on with the Cash Money, the BG, the Turk, the Juvenile, baby situation, what happened at the Essence Fest. Give us a peek behind the scenes. Let us know what's going on because we want to know what's going on behind the curtains. We want to hear something from Lil Wayne that will make us think, that will make us look, that will make us just see him in a different light. Because we understand the face tats. We understand the newly grown hairline. We understand that those dreads at one point were hanging by a thread, literally. We understand that. But Wayne has been able to provide a resurgence for himself. right? We know the Wayne that we already know, but show us the Wayne that we don't know, and I believe that's what we're looking for from him. He's already had his pop time. He's already had his mainstream time. No matter what he releases, people are going to listen to it because he's Lil Wayne. So you don't have to appease a certain genre, a certain crowd, a certain audience of folk. Just give us an album. Your album. An album from the heart. And Drake banning these TDE members from performing at his venue in Canada, I believe that's from the heart. I believe that he feels a way about TDE artists. Right? Schoolboy Q got canceled. Right? Sir got canceled. They went to Twitter and voiced their frustrations. And, you know, we know Drake has ties to this venue. Drake is a part owner in this venue. We know Drake is pulling the strings. Right? We know that he's the petty guy. Right? And he wants to be seen as the sixth guy. He wants to be seen as the guy that runs the city of Toronto. And pretty much, if you got ties with someone that was talking bad about me in a beef, then I'm going to flaunt my power on you. I'm going to flex my muscle on you. All of these people, you Lil Yachty, Gordo, coming out saying that Drake is unfazed. He seems happy. Think about these actions. That's not what a man that's happy does. If a man that don't care if he's unfazed, why is he making these type of moves? Why is he posting these type of stuff on Instagram stories? Like, we know he's feeling some type of way. Why is he flaunting the Tupac Mercedes? Right? Why is he doing these weird things if he's unfazed, if he's happier than he's ever been? Right? And people saying, well, he's mad. He's really mad because Kendrick called him a PDF file. Like, at the end of the day, like my boy Ice on Joe Budden podcast would say, and I mean, everybody knows this. If you gonna take it there, I'm gonna take it further, and that's something you don't want to do. Right? Kendrick warned him, and he did it anyway because of ego, because of narcissism, because of pride, because of arrogance, and that bit him in the butt. And now he's acting out. He's stopping these artists from performing at sold out shows. He's stopping these artists from collecting their due in his city. But what about when he goes to Oakland? Is that gonna be your last show? What about when you go to LA? You gonna want that protection. You gonna want that love. You gonna want that same courtesy. But if you're not giving it in your city, how can you expect it in another man's city? And you thought you were bigger than Kendrick and Cali. And I want you to go see if that's correct. Because we saw what happened at the Pop-Out show. We saw what happened with the support from the West Coast. So all those words, all those things you saying is coming back to bite you. So, I mean, Drake, he's doing songs with Gordo, right? Melodic. They said that the Super Soaker song that Lil Yachty leaked, that was a good song. That shit was straight. That shit was okay. That shit ain't gonna put Drake back in high standings. Might be more up-tempo, might be a little club bop, I get it, but I don't think that makes anybody look at Drake differently than what they're already looking at now, and he's looking worse for being petty. He's looking worse. And all these people coming out saying he's unfazed, saying he don't care. When he's acting like this, we know that that's not true. Right? And another person that is phased, right, is DJ Mustard, you know, because he was getting on Twitter saying that Drake is the white Malcolm X, just blaming him for Gordo releasing on the same week as him just blaming the bots, just blaming everyone for not getting the numbers that he was supposed to get for Faith of a Mustard Seed. But DJ Mustard, you're not Khaled, right? Because you're new to this. Khaled's true to this. He's built his whole career on this. You're not Metro Boomin. Because Metro Boomin been booming for years. Metro Boomin been putting these collab albums together for years. So he has a track record. He has a history, right? He has a trust within his fan base. And Mustard, I'm not saying that this is your first one. I don't even know if this is your first one, to be honest, because I don't remember you doing an album. I think you did do an album. I think you talked about it. I think you did an album like this before. And to me, this was a good album, right? This was West Coast, right? Good production, great bop. You know what I'm saying? It had a good G-Funk feel to it, had a good West Coast bop to it. You had artists like Dirk, Young Thug. You had Blast, right? You had Future. You had Charlie Wilson. You had Ty Dolla $ign, right? You had Kirk Franklin. You had Quavo. You had Travis Scott. 7 a.m. in the parking lot. You had people on this album. So, this album was good. Each song was good to great. It was very enjoyable. It was very digestible. Pressured Up. Schoolboy Q and Vince Staples. It was a good song. It was very West Coast. The production was solid as a rock. But Mustard, you predicted to sell 18K copies in your first week. You came off the Not Like Us record. You thought this was the most opportune time for you to drop this album. And it was. Right? You had big name artists. You did. And, they did their thing. Roddy Ricch gave you 2 songs. So, I feel like Mustard, you did what you're supposed to do. The people that you put on this album maybe didn't carry it enough for you. You did what you were supposed to do production-wise. You did what you were supposed to do from a concept standpoint. You did what you were supposed to do by orchestrating this album in the right way. You put the names together, but people didn't flock to those names. People didn't flock to that music like you thought they would, or that music wasn't, the replay value wasn't as high, right? But I think you did a good job, and you can rest your hat on that. You could be thankful for that, be grateful. Like you said in your tweet or your X post, right? Be grateful. Don't complain. Don't try to put down others to big yourself up. Don't be speaking on Drake. Like, why are you speaking on Drake now when you had the Toronto Maple Leafs hat on in a Not Like Us video? You tried to act like it wasn't about Drake. Now you calling him the white Malcolm X? No. Stand by your words. Stand by what you said. Stop complaining, bro. That's big shit. You did what you were supposed to do. Be okay with the results. And don't let it stop you. Continue to build that trust. Continue to build that connection with the fans, with the listeners. So when you drop your next album, they know what to expect. They know what to be looking for. They know the brand. Don't complain to the people. It makes you look weak. It makes you look weird. It makes you look ungrateful. Like, don't let these numbers make you think differently about what you bring to the table. Because some of the best artwork, some of the best albums, some of the best songs that really resonate with people in the long run, they might not get that recognition off the bat. But later on, people love them. People enjoy them. So Mustard, I like what you did with Faith of a Mustard Seed. Right? It's giving me faith in myself that I can accomplish anything through God, through Christ who strengthens me. It gave me faith. Young Thug still locked up in the ghetto. Dirk talking about it too. It gave me faith that I can come from the slums, that I can come from the bottom, that I can rise up in the mud. Pressured up. Right? In the pressured times, when the back against the wall, it gave me faith that I can fight through. Schoolboy Q and Vince Staples. Drake. Mustard. I don't like you going at Drake. I don't like you going at academics. I like when a man can accept what the universe, gives him and then just try to be better, right? But when you point the finger and you try to blame everybody else for your lack of success, quote unquote, because you're still a successful musician in this rap game, it just makes it look worse, right? When Rick Ross didn't sell that many copies, when he dropped with Meek Mill, when he didn't sell that many copies, richer than I ever been, and he was talking about 50, and they was like, "Hey, look at the album sales." Like, Ross didn't blame nobody. He just kept hustling. He just kept doing what he was doing, and that's what I want to see with DJ Mustard. Keep doing what you're doing, and Big Sean, I don't think you need to keep doing any interviews. Right, Big Sean, I don't know, bro. Maybe it's just your body language, or maybe it's just the way you talk. Cause I mean, you sound proper. Like, and nothing's wrong with that. But you're talking about a man being a bitch ass nigga, or you know what I'm saying? Like, the way you talking, that's bitch shit. That's hoe shit. Like, it just sound weird coming from you. Like, when Drake say nigga, it just don't sound right because you're saying it in such a proper tone, and you're from Detroit. I thought you would have had, a little bit of a dialect, but you don't have it, and that's understandable. You're an educated man. You're a smart man, and you're good with your words. You're a great lyricist. But I find it funny that you wanted to clear your name. I find it funny that you wanted to put Kendrick on blast and saying that he apologized to you. You wanted Charlemagne to read that text. I just find it funny that you say you were with all the smoke and didn't smoke anything. Because regardless, the fact of the matter is it's about the principle. Like you said, if they was trying to make it seem like it was all good and it really wasn't all good, and then you found out it wasn't all good, and there were some things that was kind of directed towards you, right? And you still didn't respond and you still didn't say anything, then you got to hold that L, right? You got to hold that pussy because you caught it, right? If you didn't want to engage with Kendrick Lamar in any rap beef, that's on you. But don't come out and make excuses of why, he apologized, or everybody was saying it was nothing, or I just did a event with Top Dog. Like, just making excuses of why you didn't want to step up to that plate and bat and swing. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no point in making enemies if you ain't got to make enemies. But when we talk about the big three, this could have been your time to be elevated in that conversation. This could have been your time to get your shine on. Of course you don't want to beef. Of course you don't want that negative energy. You don't want to harbor it. You got a lot of stuff to deal with mentally. But sometimes you got to be a man. Sometimes you can't let nobody play with your name. Sometimes you got to stand up for what you believe in. Sometimes you got to die behind your respect, and not die in a literal sense. But you got to go out on a limb. You got to walk on a thin line. You got to walk on a thin layer of ice and show that you're not scared of falling, and show that you're more likely to fly than to fall. And you didn't do that. So I don't want to hear none of these excuses about why you didn't engage with Kendrick Lamar. I don't want to hear none of these excuses. Right? Because to me, that doesn't suffice. Right? And at the end of the day, if you want to promote your album, promote your album. But just understand, you talking like this, you're giving Kendrick ammo, and he's not even releasing nothing yet. He about to air all y'all motherfuckers out. And I don't think he's done with saying what he wanted to say about Cole. I don't think he's done with saying what he wanted to say about Drake and Big Sean. You just pretty much added your name to the list. So now don't look back at no messages that was sent 10 years ago and try to read them off. Act now. Do something now. Stop waiting. Right? Because we know you are a lyrical magician. We know you can make magic with words. And your skill set is not far off from Kendrick's. But it's all about your mentality. And the way you were talking in that interview, I can't agree with your mentality. I can't agree with you not wanting to go there, not wanting to take it there just to prove like you got something to say. You should be regarded as one of the best. You can compete with the top guys on an elite level. And you kind of ran from that, bro. Just like J. Cole ran from the shit with Drake and Kendrick. Right? You ran. Shit. And Future, he stood up tall. Future stood up tall to Drake. And he didn't back down. He not doing the social media shit. He not doing the interviews. And they say they should do interviews and get their point across. But sometimes, no matter what these rappers do, if they goofy, if they look weird, if they just personally not those guys are not really like that, or not a personality that you could really believe in, resonate, or gravitate to, they just gonna look weird regardless, no matter what they say. So that's why it's good to not do interviews sometimes, because you don't want to reveal your hand to the public. You don't want to expose your own self by just talking too much, or just by talking and they can really see your persona for what it is. So I think this is one of those things where we kind of see like Big Sean for what he is. And not saying that we haven't seen it in other interviews, but this one, to me, it was just weird. It was just off kilter. It just got me off my rhythm. But I just wanted to talk about those things. I'm sure it's pretty much a lot more that we probably could talk about in hip hop, or just Olympics in general, talking about sports, you know what I'm saying? Because, I like that, and we're going to do that when the football season get back going. But right now, I'm going to keep it music. Right now, I'm going to keep it hip-hop. Right now, I'm going to keep it rap, because it's your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your nephew, your friend, but I can't be your son, it's your kinfolk, William Jewell. Giving you my detail as I articulate. This is articulating rap, 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 rap. Lord, prepare me